Dating back to the first official SneakerCon in 2009, these meetups were once the physical heartbeat of sneaker culture. But 16 years later, the demographic, the motive, and even the meaning of these events have completely changed. What began as a tight-knit gathering of diehard sneakerheads, collectors proudly displaying their grails, swapping stories, and selling shoes from their own personal stash, slowly morphed into something else, not just as a business, but an industry, one that chews up culture and spits out content, sponsorships, and shitty wristbands. The year is 2009, and SneakerCon was founded. At the time, sneakers were beginning to explode online, with communities forming across Nike Talk forums, eBay reselling, and the early days of YouTube sneaker reviews. The founders of SneakerCon wanted to take the growing online culture and transfer it into something real, a physical space where sneaker collectors could meet, trade, and show off their collections in person. The first SneakerCon was in New York City and drew around 3,000 attendees, a massive turnout for something that had never actually existed at such scale before. People brought their personal grails, retro Jordans, Nike SBs, Air Force Ones, player exclusives, and even unreleased pairs. There were no sponsorships, no banners, just collectors at their tables, sharing their passion and stories about sneakers they genuinely cared about. SneakerCon exploded in popularity, a collective traveling circus where sneakerheads from every city would gather. SneakerCon called itself the greatest sneaker show on earth, and it wasn't long before the event began touring the United States and eventually the world. This obviously attracted sponsors to back the event, including eBay, Monster Energy, and Adidas. Attendance routinely grew year after year, and by 2015, the numbers of attendees was in the thousands, nearly averaging 10,000. While SneakerCon was booming, so was sneaker culture and the hype era of sneakers. Sneaker YouTubers quickly cultivated the conventions as their own meet and greet spaces, setting up booths that drew hundreds of prepubescent fans eager to flex alongside their favorite creators. Videos centered around SneakerCon routinely racked up hundreds of thousands of views. These events became crucial marketing platforms, allowing YouTubers to not only appear at the shows, but also sell their own merchandise. SneakerCon became a battleground for these creators, with constant competition to outdo one another in booth attendance and line length. There was even a diss track made from one YouTuber to another.
You got no line at your booth.
Sneaker YouTuber.
You got no line at your booth.
Sneaker YouTuber.
You got no line at your booth.
Sneaker YouTuber.
Gucci fit, you copy my shit. Your girl is all on my dick.
One of the most influential figures during this era was Kais Omar, who, like many YouTubers, had deals with SneakerCon, essentially getting paid to attend and draw large crowds of subscribers. Kais was so proud of the revenue he generated through the event and his fans that he proposed to his girlfriend during a halftime of a pickup basketball game he was playing inside of a SneakerCon venue in some random city.
And she's the one that pushed me every day. So Mina, if you could come here.
SneakerCon had essentially become an after-school program for these YouTubers who would cackle and gossip around like children in their own little cliques and their own little Supreme box logos and their Yeezys and their tight jogger pants. I mean, despite all the spectacle, the core aspects of the convention remained. vendor tables, and in some cases, vendors displaying their merchandise on the floor, begging like bums on the side of the street. SneakerCon had become fully mainstream, and sneaker conventions now had a completely new demographic, taking over the majority of attendees. Teenagers, who had previously replaced the old head sneakerheads. Then, with the pandemic briefly pausing conventions, the entire landscape of sneaker culture was set to change. Not only was the demographic shifting, but the style and focus of sneaker conventions were evolving, and a new competitor was emerging. While SneakerCon remained a staple and consistent name worldwide, Got Soul began to rise, fueled by viral social media videos, frequent events, strong marketing, and the ability to attach celebrity names to their conventions. Along with this, a vast number of TikTokers and YouTubers partnered with Got Soul, ensuring that nearly every event was flooded with influencers, echoing what had happened at SneakerCon years prior. While SneakerCon had also leaned into celebrity and influencer appearances, it was now being outshined online. And the large number of attendees at Got Soul were overwhelmingly resellers. Everyone had a vendor table, or if you didn't, you were going there with sneakers to sell, to buy, to flip, to buy off of someone, to then buy this, to then do this, and then buy that, and then buy someone to all for $5 profits. The era of sneaker culture was deeply entrenched in reselling, driven by social media visibility and viral hype. Many attendees were fueled by government stimulus checks, treating a few sneaker wins of Nike Dunks and Air Jordan 1s like holy relics, desperately flipping them at these events. They were thinking they hit the gold rush with these fucking Panda Dunks. The entire process was documented through the lens of sneaker YouTubers, many of whom ran their own sneaker stores and had amassed large followings purely through their sneaker reselling. Meanwhile, the conventions themselves were a sensory overload, blaring obnoxious music from performers or DJs, meaningless mini-games like basketball hoops, sneaker authentication booths, more low-quality vendors, and countless resell tables littered across the floor. What was once a collector-focused community had now become a chaotic marketplace driven by hype, clout, and profit.